Well, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you may be. My name's Darren Babin. I'm the co-founder here at CannabisRadio.com, and I am joined by my cohort on the mic, Brasco on the radio. How are you, buddy?
We've been busy. We've been busy, Darren. I mean, really, not just for what we're doing, but like the response to the network is 420. We got to hurry up and get our stuff out there. We need to get on. Interview. Like, Jesus, man.
Well, I think,
And I try to plan 2 months ahead to get it. Listen, if you're going to do
you can't
420,
do it.
you want to do it? Listen, I gave you 2 months ahead of time.
Yeah, you can't.
Why
do
do
it.
you wait till the last minute? You procrastinators.
Yeah, it's impossible. I just had Brandy walked past here just a minute ago, and I heard her talking to somebody saying, "You just don't understand. This is like the Black Friday of the cannabis industry," which it kind of is, So you can never really kind of catch up, George. By the way, folks, if you're watching this, make sure you let us know. Jump in the chat room on whatever platform. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, wherever, go put a little chat in there. Say hello, say hi. Let us know you're watching. Of course, if you like this particular show, if you like what George and I do when we get on here and we banter and we talk about news and events and what's going on out there, like us, follow us, share this as well. And of course, if you're over on YouTube, smash that bell notification button so every time we go live, you get notified of the new content. Okay, we're out of the shoots, George. What do we got on tap today?
So Seth Rogen spoke, and by the way, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out and crap on the Guardian because the story was available for me like 5 minutes ago, and then they put a damn paywall up.
Shut up.
Yeah, so I had to go. Well, see, smart like I am, I found it somewhere else. But of course, you guys, the Guardian, the reporter Gene Marks. I bet you enjoy that. I'm going to crap on the Guardian because you got to put a paywall up. Seth Rogen talked about Houseplant, which he launched in 2019,
right?
And he talked about that the in an interview he did with them. He says that the stigmatization of weed has created an idea that it's way more dangerous than drinking. He says, "quote Why should it be any worse to go to a cannabis site than it is to walk into a restaurant that serves alcohol? It shouldn't be. It's like you're not going into an Applebee's because they have beer." And then he says, "I hope that slowly people understand that the things they've been told about it are not true, and that most people, if not everyone, can in some way incorporate weed into their lives that would be positive."
Listen, so first off, this article was slanted from the beginning, right? Like when you ask questions along the lines of why would someone want to buy their ashtray from a cannabis site? I mean, are you kidding me right now with that? I kind of feel like, they do this just to hear Seth, become a political advocate, or a cannabis advocate. It's just kind of strange, if you ask me.
Put them on defense. Every mainstream source does this. They all do. They hit you with that trigger question, and you're like, "Oh, well, no, we have the reports that say this and this, and 75%." Like, all right, okay, you're just getting baited, Seth, Bubby. You got baited,
Bubby.
and then the whole point of talking about Houseplant got thrown away because you have to go and defend yourself now. Why did you take the bait? Come on, buddy. You're in Hollywood. You know better. This is like worse than paparazzi. It really is. But then that's the whole thing. He's issuing advice and he's saying, okay, smoking used to be this kind of in vogue thing that drew a lot of great minds to the things that surrounded it, ashtrays and things like that, like he said.
Look, I think George, what he's just trying to say is it's a lifestyle. That's all. No more, no less. It's a lifestyle. And you know what? Like, like it doesn't need to be put into check every moment of the day. You know what I mean? Like it can be just like a beer. You know, when you go to a restaurant, you sit down and you place your drink order. Maybe I want a cannabis beverage, and that can be just an okay thing. It doesn't have to be weird. I think the weirdness comes from the stigma attached from all these years, and they still lob those questions in, which still perpetuates the weirdness.
I do like the car lighter that he has on here, where you just push the button like a cigarette lighter. You know, if we go and light one up and just get it ready instead of getting a flame. That's actually pretty good. I like that.
Why not?
Also, speaking of other legendary big name people, George Harrison.
George Harrison.
Was it? What was that song he did? Cracker Box Palace, right? Was that the one? Other things, you know, he did. There was an album he did in 1970, "All Things Must Pass," and now we have a cannabis company called Dadgrass that has a new special line of products called "All Things Must Grass."
Must grass. Honestly, so I get the sentiment. I get that they got the rights. All things must grass. Like you got to be a hardcore Beatles and George Harrison fan to really see the upside in that. Yes. You know what I mean? What up, Mark? Mark in the chat room. I'm just saying, like, if you got the deal, and don't get me wrong, okay? So when you look at the branding, the packaging, it looks amazing. Like I think they did their job.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like the name falls flat, and likely there were other lyrics that were cool that you could have used with you know, one of our favorite Beatles, and you know, but that's just me, you know, no fuddy-duddy.
Yeah, did you mention the packaging that there's a special dad stash edition that disguises the pack of joints to look like a double cassette box. That's pretty good. I like that.
Right?
It's good. You know, it's
We're
like
aging ourselves.
I know. Well, and that's the thing. Like, is it going to be enough where we need to see like this is where we have to go? We're going to go after the
did you do mixtapes? You made mixtapes, of course you did.
I did, yeah.
Of course you did.
I spent a load on Maxell cassettes.
Did you have them categorized and cataloged and?
Well, I used to do a lot of air checks when I was on radio, so that would be just record myself and sound. By the way, I digitized all that stuff back. Not this past holiday, but the year before when there was time things were kind of going dead down. Yeah, I sounded bad. I had to kind of like change my pitch of my voice, bring it lower, make it sound better. But actually, I put a lot of that stuff on YouTube. I figured I'm going to embarrass myself to everybody. You want to listen to me? Go right ahead. 25 years ago, that's what I sounded like. You know, plugging like, you know, pitching the next Mary J. Blige song or whatever it is. Shameless plug. Yes, thank you, Ricky. Producer Ricky knows. Hey, we're in the business of marketing, my friends. That's what we do.
So funny.
So, anyways, now let's go and move along into a little bit of psychedelic and a couple other great news when it comes to things.
Mushrooms.
So psilocybin now, which you would continue to do your trips to Bonita Springs to My Self Wellness. I'm going to ask about that now.
Well, we'll do an update on that in a bit.
Yes. Okay, so they say that the magic mushroom compound rewires the brain for people with depression. Yep. From Imperial College in London reporting this.
Yeah.
And they're saying it helps to quote unquote open up depressed people's brains even after use, enabling brain regions to talk more freely to one another. Correct. And this is finding brain scans that were done from close to 60 people receiving treatment for depression and led by Imperial College London Center for Psychedelic Research. And they say they have untangled how psilocybin exerts its therapeutic effects on the brain. And the new results reveal that people who responded to the therapy showed increased brain connectivity, not just during their treatment, but up to 3 weeks afterward. And the opening up was associated with self-reported improvements in depression. Yeah.
It's longer than that. There's an adjacent study that's out there that shows up to 6 months. Now that's up to 6 months after a hero dose, right? Yes. So it's a little bit different. But that that college over there is doing quite a bit of studies into psilocybin right now. One of the things that this article is trying to say, and we've talked about this a little bit, is this is the area of the brain that normally doesn't communicate with anything. It's quiet. We don't know what's going on over there. And they see psilocybin patients take mushrooms, and that these portions of their brain that are normally dormant and quiet light up, and suddenly those parts of the brain that are lit up and alive and going, yo, what's up, they start talking to the other part of your brain. The other part of your brain's going, yo, where'd you come from, right? And so now you got a whole lot of activity going on in the head. And it feels like all this information coming at you, crazy. And it's basically you unlocking your own brain and writing brand new neural pathways. Mm-hmm. And so this is really interesting. This is why it's very helpful for people with PTSD and depression and anxiety. It's something that, when done right? Like there's let's go tip a cow, grab, whatever's growing out of a pie and choke it down real quick. No. Like what we're talking about, guys, is therapeutic use of what amounts to plant medicine, and it can do wonders for you.
Now, in this story, I want to make mention too that the head of this college or this Imperial Center, she's now based in San Francisco, California, at the University of California, San Francisco, and she mentioned on here that, quote, the effect seen with psilocybin is consistent across 2 studies related to people getting better and was not seen with a conventional antidepressant. This is all. This or now, if this Professor Robert Carhart Harris, if she's making her way over here, and hopefully this is going to start getting brought up in the States. This kind of research comes in, game changer. Keep an eye on it, folks.
Agreed.
This is good.
Agreed.
Okay, in there, I'll take another story. I'm going to go and drop into the psychometric assessment of cannabis intoxication. Another psychological thing. We got to bring this up too. So in their story, they're talking about that there's new research published in Drug and Alcohol Dependence, providing evidence on a new scale that incorporates contemporary young adult language to measure the effects of cannabis is a viable alternative to standard assessments of intoxication. So
this is more bullshit. I'm sorry. I find this to be utterly retarded, but go for it.
So they said, okay, they made the colleagues. They had everybody conduct 161 young adults a 14-day daily diary, and they're asked if they used cannabis. If they did, they asked to report the mode of administration: bong, vape, pipe, edible, and to rate their subjective intoxication using an older scale and a new scale. And they said that the subjective effects link was stronger on vape-only days relative to blunt-only days, and to reinforce the need to update and expand assessments of cannabis effects designed to align with the language used by young adults: calm, chill, high, stoned, or baked, rather than focusing narrowly on degrees of impairment or intoxication, as well as account for variability and effects by mode of administration.
Okay. Sure. This sounds like somebody that needed to waste a little bit of time,
a little money. Yeah, some grant money on this, yes.
Some research money. God forbid why someone gave them research money for that. Are we going to Thailand now?
Did you ever want to go to Thailand, Darren? Or you haven't you, or no?
No, I haven't. But I want to go to Thailand, right? And of course, one of those big things was, oh my God, like, would you really go to Thailand? Like, if you enjoy smoking weed, you go to Thailand, you get caught smoking weed, you're going to jail for like 25 years to life, some crazy whatever. I think now the law is 25 years, the penalty, except they just changed that, right?
Yes. And somebody was actually talking to me earlier. I had an interview today with I'm going to butcher her name if I try to say it, but she runs an organization called the Black Dragon Breakfast Club. And she talked to me about Thailand and the cannabis sandboxes. so that tours are
Yeah.
allowed to visit the company recreationally using cannabis.
So you can go recreationally use it in certain areas only, aka the sandbox, right? And legally get away with that,
And
right?
so
So
I
they
had another Guardian
why
story,
would they
but of
be
course,
doing this?
oh,
Why
uh-huh.
why would they be doing this?
Oh, they need it. Oh yeah, yeah. They're
Right?
not without their morals, right? They know what their money. They need to pad their pockets. By the way, wait till the spotlight. We'll talk about padding pockets in a minute. Uh, but of course, the Guardian. I had this story. I read it, and then paywall. You, I'm not gonna curse. I'm not gonna do it on live. I'm sorry, but there was a story where I got in here that came about growing in Thailand. You can grow as many cannabis plants as you would like from June 9th, but and they say that don't be planting high grade marijuana and smoking in Thailand yet because there are conditions you can have. But they said that, if you don't read the fine print, you can still get in trouble with the law, but they're allowing as many cannabis plants in their homes.
Yeah, but okay, so this is where, like they said, read the fine print. When they write the law so vague, then who gets to interpret it, right? And
Yeah.
if they want to interpret it in their favor today, they're going to, right? They're always interpreting in their favor. But right, like the definition is how do you define what's medical grade cannabis, and how do you grow just that? How are you not in there growing dank, sticky icky, right? That's really
By the
the
way, the
same.
website I got this from, I got to give a shout out. They call themselves Tiger, Thaiger. That's pretty cool. I like that. Twist on words.
I
Okay.
like that.
I got to mention now, well, let's go into the spotlight. We should go and do that now.
Yeah, we should.
And this, I'm gonna get the thump on the soapbox. I'm gonna love this because this is something I was keeping an eye on. Where I had heard about back in 2020, they talked about how much money was being spent on lobbying for cannabis legalization. And now we have a new report from Open Secrets. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for doing this for us because they gave us more information. Uh, so they talked about that in 2021, the cannabis industry spent over $4.2 million lobbying on a variety of issues, including the MORE Act. And they talked about who was actually getting paid off. So we want to know some of the names of all these people that are, why are they being so vocal and being so supportive? Okay, Republican Matt Gaetz of Florida, big
Oh yeah.
firebrand,
Oh yeah.
Trump supporter. His sole Republican co-sponsored a bill. I wonder why. Okay, he
Come
got
on, George.
fifty-two
Tell me.
thousand dollars in contributions
How
since
much?
2017. $52,000.
52K.
Hey,
Uh,
I I
uh.
love this. I love this right here. This is great. Earl Blumenauer. Hey, thank you,
Okay.
Representative Blumenauer. We hear his name a lot. He's always being quoted. Oh, he got
Now,
fifty
but
thousand
in
nine hundred
fairness,
seventy dollars.
how much?
50,970. But this is since 1996.
And in fair, this guy has been a warrior for the
Yes.
industry. So this guy, he should have had more. Okay, let's go on. Who else?
Okay. Well, and then by the way, 32,000 in 2020. Just to give you the heads up.
Okay.
Representative Barbara Lee of California, who's always been like, co-sponsored a bill, almost $10,000 in 2020,
Okay.
and over $37,000 in her tenure overall. Let's see here. Ed Perlmutter from Colorado, House Rules Committee. So he would be on the Banking Act Committee. He would be on a few other things. He advanced the MORE Act to the House floor. He got $4,000 for that. Nice payday for you, buddy. And almost $10,000 overall. And then many sponsors of the MORE Act, they all got $5,000 payoffs. Let's see. A bunch of Democrats, Dina Titus from Nevada, Diane DeGette from Colorado, Eric Swalwell of California, Steve Cohen of Tennessee, Susan Del Bene of Washington, and there was one that was not a co-sponsor. One of three Republicans who voted for the legislation or the legalization received $8,000 to the marijuana lobby.
Okay, so I have to ask. George.
Uh-huh.
Is it any different than any other law that runs through our great hallowed halls of law.
Well, I just think we're finally getting some more money into their pockets. Listen, they're gonna. That's what you have to do. You have no choice. You have to do this
We, yes,
to get this rolled out. Yeah, you have to pay
if
these
we're going to
people.
get the votes, if we're going to get it put on the calendar for the vote, right? Like, yeah, you absolutely have to put some money in people's hands. Does it suck? Yes, it does, but it is a reality. And it's kind of funny when you look at some of the names. Yes, but
Yep.
I mean, it's a necessary evil,
Oh, agreed. And
right?
I'll tell you, every time I talk to every lobbying body that was out there, okay, it was $4 million in 2020. It's slightly more now.
Okay,
But in 2020, tobacco spent $27 million on lobbying, beer, wine, and liquor, 30 million. And now this year, or 2021, they say that, and looking at right now, okay, so lobbying, for instance, just to give you like an example of other organizations, Amazon spent 14.5 million between April and December of 2021. The ACLU, uh, they spent about $1 million.
yeah,
Tobacco, British American Tobacco, and Altria Group, the tobacco companies, together collectively $8 million just to get the MORE Act passed in the House. And then the beer companies you're talking about, Molson Coors, $2.1 billion, 2.1 billion, excuse me. So there, I mean, the money's being put out there. It's like they're starting to match up with the rest,
yeah,
and they're saying that among all combined organizations, just on the marijuana legalization, all these organizations combined $31.1 million in lobbying in 2021.
wow,
Because you know that tobacco and alcohol also want to be in on this because they want to be in that cannabis train. So together, with the difference is we're seeing now all these are we're embed together to get this passed.
yeah, all
And has
right.
it done anything? What do we get in the
Well,
House? We don't
yeah.
know what the Senate's going to do yet.
I mean, we're going to keep our fingers crossed, and we'll see if it makes the Senate. A lot of people say that they don't think it's going to get through there. I'm not going to speculate on it. As always, as ever, keeping my fingers crossed, hoping
And
for the best.
and by the way, so I've talked to a number the Council for Federal Cannabis Regulation. There's a CPAIR. There is the U.S. Cannabis Council, and they're the ones. The U.S. Cannabis Council was the only one mentioned in this story
Yeah,
among the cannabis companies. I'll bring that up real quick. So they had three groups of lobbyists working in 2021, and they hired a firm to several issues. They had several firms who were spending. It looks like they spent about almost $400,000
yeah,
just in last year. U.S. Cannabis Council to go ahead and work this out. Canopy Growth hired two in-house lobbyists, $650,000, and they probably spent about $750,000. Constellation Brands, which has 36% stake in Canopy, also put $250,000 into lobbying as well. A lot of money coming in. A lot of money.
well, it makes
And
sense.
you know,
It makes
yeah,
sense, and I think the closer we get to realizing, federal regulation, and more people feel that we're
yep.
on that edge, people are going to spend that money, and they'll get it in the right hands. And yep, a lot of it's going to end up in the lobbyist's hands. And you know what? Like, I don't have issues. Well, I mean, some lobbying practices are obviously questionable. However, it's a dirty fact of politics, and it's a reality that we have to deal with. So if it's what it's going to take, pony up.
And by the way, can we compare how much? Okay, this is where we got to talk about money talks and how much money talks to get something done. Big pharmaceutical companies combined 2021 $263 million. $263 million. That's the difference. A fifth of whatever this conglomeration is doing right now to get cannabis legalized, right? There's a difference. That's the gap we have right now to get this done, and I think that's what it needs. I don't like it, but there's no other choice. You want to get this going on. You want to get legalization passed. That's the kind of money you need. Big pharma money. You need 5 times more to actually get
Yeah.
across. At least you're getting them to vote on it. At least you're getting them to talk about it. At least you're getting some vocal opinion. But is that enough? How much money do they need? Now, give us a price tag, Washington, D.C. Give us a price tag. I'd prefer that over doing all this. I would. Anyway,
Okay,
I'm
George,
done with that.
I'm going to kick that soapbox right out from under you because
Go for it.
I know you like it, but we do have to move. We've just got a few minutes left. Really quickly, I'm going to summarize like the last couple of weeks because you guys have missed it. I missed you. Myself wellness. We did our 5th treatment this past week. So number 4 and 5, I can tell you was just even more incredible than it has before. The doses have continuously gone up. No more throwing up. That's big. Yeah.
Nice.
And the post treatment effects are still feelings of bliss, feelings of like I am me, like I am reconnected with who I am. It's really weird. It separates you from you and then brings you back. And I think it's when you're separated, it is the ketamine does whatever it's doing in there. And when you come back, it is definitely something to experience. I have been definitely gradually more jovial and up and productive, and I think like the me that I would recognize in my prime out there, right. It's you have to take your own mental wellness into account, because if you don't, you suffer. You really do. And I think sometimes we don't realize that we're carrying all this until suddenly you're not. And you go, oh my God, that was heavy, right? I didn't know. And so I kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like I've set a bunch of stuff down and I don't feel as heavy anymore. And that's really kind of nice. So myself wellness, Bonita Springs, tell them that we sent you. Cannabis Radio sent you. They're amazing folks over there. Truly amazing. So our last treatment is this coming Friday. So we'll keep you updated next week. Next week, however, we are going to have a bit of a shuffle. We need to talk about whether or not we're gonna. We'll update everybody on Facebook about the broadcast, because we do have the very next day, the Bud Bash. It's crazy. We've got 6 or 7 bands. Do we have that spot? We can roll a spot, Ricky.
Join Cannabis Radio, April 20th, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Drifting Roots. The Shake. 59 Shop. Title Theory. Indigo Eye and more. Grab your tickets at thebudbash.com. Presented by Mellow Fellow. Thebudbash.com.
I recognize that voice.
That's and by the way, can I make mention shout out to our producer Ricky, who is one of the featured bands, The Shake. He was right there on guitar and vocals right there. Great stuff.
Right. That's
good
right.
Good song, by the way.
Good
That's
stuff.
why we had it featured on the ad. Good stuff.
Yeah, good
I
stuff.
love getting to do. I never got to do concert ads. Always wanted to do that.
It was awesome.
Again, all of our bash ads always get to do, because we get to work with real music, and it's like it's not the copyrighted licensed stuff that's kind of like, it's like real music. It's
Yeah,
great.
this was fun. This was definitely
Plus, I
fun.
make it. I think I do a better job than most of those radio stations that do kind of lazy, but I enjoy
But it
those.
was good. It was very
Oh
good.
yeah.
And I do want to give a big shout out to our presenting sponsor for the night, Mellow Fellow. If you want to check out just truly an
Mhm.
amazing
Right.
CBD brand, you need to run over to mellowfellow.fun. Check it
Yes.
out. It is truly an awesome brand. We went over to their offices the other day. What an unbelievable setup they have over there. They do all their own extractions. I mean, the jars and jars of oil. Crazy. Anyway, they are our presenting sponsor for Bud Bash. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you're here in South Florida or going to be on 420, head on over to thebudbash.com. Get your tickets now, and we'll see you there. Again, it's going to be an all-day music fest, fun, food, drinks, and me. George, Ricky playing. We're gonna have a good
The
time,
entire
folks. So,
crew. Yes.
yeah, exactly. The entire crew is going to be there. So make sure you get your tickets and come hang out with us. That is going to do it for us today here on Cannabis Radio Live. We're going to get out. We're going to scoot out. We're going to go take a break. We'll post back. Maybe we'll get ourselves back on here next Tuesday. If not, we'll put a post up on Facebook and let everybody know. Otherwise, thanks for coming in, tuning in today. Make sure that you like, share, and follow this with everybody. And of course, we'll see you next week right here for a little bit more Cannabis Radio Live if we're here. If not, we'll see you the following week.